And one.
Hi, I'm Phyllis Randall, and I am the Chair at Large of the Loudoun County Board of Supervisors in Loudoun County, Virginia. And I'm sitting in my office with an amazing young woman. I'm going to let her introduce herself.
I am Jacqueline Boston Clark. I'm a senior at Loudoun High School, and I am just happy to be here today.
So we're going to talk just a little bit about the importance of knowing our history in Loudoun County and being able to tell all history in Loudoun County. We're going to talk just shortly about segregated history in Loudoun County and how we've come from where we were to where we are now, and some of the names of the people who helped us get here. As I sit here in my office, I keep these books on my table. I have two books called The Essence of a People, and it's actually about the history of African American people in Loudoun County. These books were written by Elaine Thompson. Elaine Thompson was a historian in Loudoun County, just a wonderful woman. She is one of my mentors. We lost her about 2 years ago, but what's important about Ms. Thompson is that she was so respected in our county and in the region that the new Smithsonian Museum asked her to be one of their persons who gave them information about the history of Loudoun County. And so before she died, she gave them information and gave them artifacts which are now sitting in the museum. So she wrote those books, and she also wrote a book called In the Watchtower. These are excellent books to read if you want to learn about Loudoun County's emancipation, all the way from emancipation and through the segregated area in Loudoun County. They're really, really important to read, and they sit on my desk at all times. One more book I have is a Rock in the Weary Land, a Shelter in the Time of a Storm. This is written by a woman named Brownwind Salter. Brownwind actually lives in the Waterford area, and the Waterford area of Loudoun County is a very, very interesting community in that it was one of the only communities that saw both the enslaved and freed blacks in the community at the same time. There are stories if you walk through Waterford and if you go to some of the historic sites in Waterford that talk about how you had freedmen and enslaved people side by side. The Waterford community actually was mostly established by people who were of religious faith, and they did not always believe in the institution of slavery. And in fact, the Waterford area was the one area in Loudoun County and in much of the region that voted not to secede from the Union during that time. So it was a really pivotal part. And so Loudoun County has these places all over our county that have dealt with this, with our very painful history, but also history that's brought us from a very long way. As I sit here right now next to Jacqueline, it's pretty incredible because I sit here as chair of this marvelous, fantastic county, but I sit here knowing that there were just thousands, hundreds of thousands of names that we can never know that put me in this seat right now. Ones that we do know, like Louetta Watkins and Elaine Thompson and Maddie Lassiter, Gertrude Evans, but also names that we don't know back from when they were enslaved forward who helped us get here. And I sit here next to this beautiful young woman, and what I know is just as people who I don't know but who worked very hard and suffered and sacrificed put me in office, it is now my job to do something to make the lives of this young woman and everyone who comes in her generation better. If all I do is build a road or build a bridge or a housing development, then I didn't do my job. I have to do something to make it better for Jacqueline and everyone who comes up behind her. So I'm going to turn to her and see if she has anything she wants to add or anything she wants to ask me.
Well, I do have a question.
Sure.
So what's it been like for you as a black woman, as a chairwoman of Loudoun County?
That's a fantastic question. So most of the issues we deal with in county government have nothing to do with one's gender or one's race or one's political background. You know, we deal with things like traffic issues, and you don't sit in traffic as a black female Democrat or a white male Republican. You just sit in traffic. So as far as the issues, it hasn't impacted the issues. But as far as the impact on history, it's been quite interesting to be the first to sit in this seat as a woman of color in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And as I said, what it's meant to me is that I have to get up every day and come to work. And not just do my job well, but do my job extraordinarily well. Because I realize that I'm setting down a path for young men and women who are going to come behind me to follow. I also think that oftentimes the people of color, our grading scale is higher. You know, we're not graded on a curve. We have a higher standard to meet. And it's my job to meet that standard every day. So it is an honor to be the chair of the county. And most of the issues are not issues that are about culture, color, race, or gender, or our orientation, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that I don't understand the historical place that I sit in and what my position is for the next person coming along behind me.
Do you experience any pushback from other board members?
I don't. Not from board members. The board that I serve with are 8 other people who have good intentions, who are care about the county, who we may disagree on issues, but still believe that the county is full of good people with good intentions, and we're fighting for, and they're doing what they believe is right, even if we disagree. I have received a handful of unpleasant emails or messages from some constituents. I have received a death threat, actually, since I've been chair. But I will say that even those are far and few between, and not the appreciation and the support I feel both from the board and from the county absolutely outweighs the negative and any comments that refer to my race and or gender. I have received those comments. In fact, I've received one in the past couple of days. And those type of comments have increased in the past, say, 2 years. I've noticed some increase in those. But in the aggregate, overall, the response has been the response to anybody else. People want their roads fixed, and they want to know when a development's going to be built. They want their kids not to sit in a class of 32 children, and they just want things to run smoothly in the county. So, yeah. Anything else?
Would you say you enjoy your job?
I love my position. It is an amazing way to be allowed to serve. And I realize that it really is just that. Elected office is service, and I love serving in this position. And I wake up every morning and I just say, I get to be chair of the county again today, and it is just fantastic to serve in this capacity. I will say that if I have one thing I want to say to young people, and maybe especially young people of color, is the importance of being involved, the importance of voting. I am surprised with how many people do not know there is a Board of Supervisors at all. Usually turnout in local elections is probably somewhere between 28 and 34%, which is very, very low. And so I really want to encourage people who are your age, which you're 17, right?
Yeah.
So you can't vote till next year. But who are younger people to vote, because when they think about it, the decisions that we make today will impact their lives much more than it will impact my life or the life of your parents. And so to encourage all people to vote, to encourage young people to vote, and young people of color to vote is really, really very important. But not just to vote, to be involved on commissions and committees and boards. I will tell you, one of my strongest members I ever put on a committee was a young man named Corey Cox. Corey is a young Hispanic gentleman who grew up in Sterling, and when I was running, he met me and felt like that there was not enough representation. And so I said to him, well, Corey, if you want to serve, if I get elected, I'm going to appoint you to the Commission on Youth. And I was sure he was going to forget that promise. And I was elected, and the next day, my first phone call was from Corey Cox. Yeah. It said, you remember what you told me? And Corey at the time was 26 years old. And I said, I remember, and I'm going to do it, and I appointed him to the Commission on Youth. And so I would encourage people of your age to get involved, to be involved. Yeah. So, thanks for coming to visit me in my office.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Well,
Thank you so much, everyone. I'm sorry I can't join you today. I'm actually in California as this event is taking place, but congratulations, and I will see you all when I get back.